Welcome back to the next episode of As the Rabbit Descends Down the Hole. So, the saga of Joseph. Today is the day that the world went dark, at least for him. You'll find out why. You know, when you have family, you believe that you're going to be safe with them. This is what you think would happen. He believed that his father loved him. He believed that his brothers, while there was some issues, they wouldn't really do anything drastic. Who would think that, He thought maybe his mom would just, smooth things over, things like that. But you never know what's going on behind the scenes sometimes with people. Brothers plotting and planning. Who do you think he is? I mean, can you imagine this? Can you imagine that your own family is plotting and planning against you to the point where they're going to eliminate you? Think about that. You know, and they coerced them and they tricked them and come on with us, and they grabbed them and they took them. You know, I'm almost wondering though if they didn't do it like in a playful manner at first to get him to go along without much struggle. Because I mean, if there was a lot of struggle, they would have been screaming and arguing and fighting and things like this, and this would drew more attention. So I'm wondering if they were kind of being very slick about this. I'm trying to make it like maybe a fun adventure or something. I don't know, just a thought. But whatever the case was, they got him. They got him and they broke him. They got far enough away from the rest of everybody else, far away from the camp, their home site. I guess you could call them ranches. That's probably the better description of what it was. And next thing you know, I mean, they're probably beating them up. I would imagine. They're doing. Well, they got to break them, and they're psychologically got to break them. And they meet these guys, and these guys, hey, let's get some money going. We're gonna sell you. What do you mean you're gonna sell me? Boom, I'm gonna sell. Boom, you will submit. You will do this. Blah blah blah. They didn't hide it. They didn't protect him. There was no defense. There was nothing. He was on his own. They sold him. Sold him. Can you imagine selling a person? I mean, I know I'm not going to try to get into the whole slavery thing, whether it was black people or white people. I mean, every group's been enslaved at some point in time in history, by one group or another. I mean, it's just the way things are, and it still goes on today in certain areas. But I mean, just think about that. Where you're selling a person as property for profit for your family, and they're doing it not necessarily for profit per se, but they're doing it just to get rid of them. In any case, these guys, they take them, probably chain them up or rope them up. It was probably ropes, I guess, at the time. Put them in there. You wonder where his brothers, I don't know, were they just looking at him? I mean, you kind of wonder what was there any emotional kickback on this whole thing? Joseph probably was just, I would imagine he probably just, he was very angry, he fought, he kept fighting, and now he's stuck, you know. Probably wondering what he did. What did I do? Why did this happen? Things like this. But you think about the sneakiness of Jacob and things like that. I mean, you see how these behaviors, I mean, in the New Testament, there's the sins of the father are not passed down to the son type stuff, but behaviors, the sins meaning, what God is looking at, but the behaviors, those can be passed down if nobody breaks them, So while God is not charging you with what your father did, he is charging you with what you did. But if you accepted onto these behaviors and these attitudes and these things, and you didn't look to adjust, adapt, whatever needs to be done, you're going to do the same thing. And so you kind of think that the brothers, they kind of had this stuff. Jacob, I mean, that's why I didn't do a thing on him. He's not worth spending the time on. He's just not. There's so many things out there about him, and he's not a very good character. He's not interesting. His brother was so much more interesting. So you can go back and check those out. But whatever the case may be, at this point in time, you gotta believe Joseph. In his head, he's kind of breaking right now. I thought maybe that dream of stuff bowing down to me, things like that. It was just a dream. It's just a dream. I mean, we've all got weird dreams. Eat some pizza, later at night. You get some weird dreams going on. I wonder, think about this. The brothers, they return back to the camp. Jacob's kind of wondering, like, the mom's probably wondering, where is he? Oh, I mean, you don't know. He was with you when you left. You mean you don't know where he is? You kind of wonder what that conversation was about, Because it kind of skims over a little bit. There had to be something going on. There was probably some big time family fights going on here. It's like, what do you mean? But for Joseph, in a sense, though, getting out of this situation, as crazy as it sounds, and as crazy as things are about to get, which we will get into in our next chapter, may have been the best thing that happened to him. In fact, it was the best thing that happened to him. But you see what he had to go through to get there. And that's the hardest part. I'll see you in the next one. See you soon.